Morning YouTube, Mr. Mo here, Stick Survival. Long time no see. This is my first video in a few years. A lot of people have been asking where I've been. Well, unfortunately I had the big C, and when I say the big C, I'm not talking about coronavirus. Yeah, unfortunately I was diagnosed with throat cancer a few years ago, and I've just been living with the effects of it. Enough said. I don't want to be a victim because I'm all good now, I'm absolutely fine, and I want to get right back into doing my YouTube videos and bringing you all these things that I used to love doing. I've not been able to do it, so I am going to get cracked back in and do it now. And what I've got today is a bag that, well, basically I would like to call it an emergency kit. I know a lot of people across America, they do bug out bags and so on and so forth, but I like to keep this kit in the back of my truck, and it basically means that if I get stuck anywhere, or indeed I just fancy a night out in the woods and to practice my skills, I've got everything in here that I need basically. So I'm going to go through it all with you, and then a bit later on in the video you're going to see some of the stuff getting used. So I will crack on. So it's basically, most of the gear in here is Maxpedition pouches. In the top here, what I've got is I have a compass to hand. I did have a bearing compass, but actually, to be honest, I just prefer one of these. It's just for general navigation anyway. So I'll drop that down there so it's not getting in the way because it's on the lanyard. And then that way I can focus with what else is going on in the bag. So in the top here, you can see there is one of those Maxpedition tearaway pouches, and in here I have a sharpening kit, and it basically comprises of, I have a tough cloth for keeping my knife in good condition, I have a sharpening stone in here, and I have a diamond file. And what I'll do is I'll post some pictures up on here because you maybe not see them all properly the way I'm pulling them out. So I'll put some pictures up in a box so you can see them. That's the sharpening kit. I have the F1 survival knife. So it needs no introduction. There's plenty of videos on YouTube, etc., how it works. It's an absolutely fantastic bit of kit. I really do like this knife. I do have other knives, some of them handmade and so on, but at the end of the day, this knife is absolutely solid. It's you know, you can use it to do heavy tasks, but it's also light enough where you can do intricate work as well. So I do like it. I just have it in the Kydex sheath, and I have some bank line wrapped around there which I'll need to tighten up. And then also in here I have the Baco Laplander saw. I'm sure you need no introduction. It is a really good saw. The teeth on it are omnidirectional, so it cuts on the push and pull stroke, which is very good. It has a lock on it, so you know the blade doesn't fold back on your fingers, and of course it has a screw, which means that you can actually change the blades on them a bit. So really good bit of kit there. Top pocket then. I have these Maxpedition zip ties or pull ties or whatever you call them, but I find them really handy. You can buy them separately, and I've basically changed out a lot of gear on that because I find that obviously I've got fingers like pig's nipples, so you know, it helps me to get in there, especially when it's cold at nights. Have this other tool here. This is basically just a hole punch. It can be, if you're doing friction fire lighting, it can aid you in that. It's not really necessary, to be honest, so it's a bit of overkill in the bag, but it's a nice to have if you want to put holes into things, and it's also, you could technically fashion that into some kind of weapon if you had to. Right in the rain notepad here. have a old passport here, so if it all goes pear-shaped, people know who I am. Super glue, I found super glue to be a very handy sort of accessory to have in the bag for all sorts of little repairs and things. Have a pen that goes along with the Right in the Rain pad. I have a signal mirror from Maritac, which is quite nice. And again, there's loads of videos on YouTube, so if there is anything that grabs your fancy here when you're having a look through the pack, you can go online and you can do your research and you can see these. These are basically bits and pieces that I've picked up over the years. I found them to be really useful in different scenarios. And if you do fancy a night out in the woods to practice your bushcraft, it's absolutely perfect for that. Here I have different SIM cards. There's a few pounds on each of them because depending where you go in the UK depends on different signals. Actually, where I am now, although it's absolutely beautiful, there's no phone reception up here, which is a bit of a shame because I would have liked to have done a little bit of drone footage, but that needs my mobile phone to connect. These balloons I've left in here because the last time they were in a pack, they got quite a lot of good talks about, you know, they're glow in the dark. Once you pull the tab, they glow in the dark. So they can be really aid in signals. 2 seconds. Dog. Determined to steal the limelight. Next up, Nightcore tub. Very handy little torch. Again, one click and you get 1,000 lumens, so if you're in a situation where you're walking from your car down to a camp or something, it's absolutely perfect just to have in your pocket. It doesn't take up any room at all, but it is a nice to have. Spare battery for a mobile phone. Again, not much use today because there's no reception, but it is because we're in a little bit of a dip here. It's a bit of a depression and we're surrounded by hills there. I'm sure if you were to walk up onto these hills, you would get quite a good reception. Other things in the top pocket then, again, there's some of these. This is Right in the Rain things again, and what you can do is you can simply write some messages on them, stick them on trees and what have you. It's, you know, they're in there, it doesn't take up any room, it doesn't add to the weight of the pack, so it might as well be there. I also have a Petzl head torch in this bag here, along with spare batteries of the button type. This is a very good head torch if you are. The Nightcore Tup is a very good bit of kit, but obviously it requires hands. I would almost guarantee, or would suggest, in any kind of emergency pack, you have some kind of head torch so you've got both hands free to concentrate on other tasks. Here we have just a little lighter, Explorer lighter, which is quite good, and it's USB rechargeable, which is a handy thing to have if you have a power bank, which I do. Fresnel lens, just to help aid in fire lighting. I'm from Scotland, so to be honest, I've had that for about 10 years and I've only we don't get a huge amount of sun in this country, but it's a nice to have, right? It's a nice to have. And then I have a needle with some wax thread around it as well for the top pocket. Moving on to the front pocket now. What I have in here is the Bushcraft Essentials stove. I really like this bit of kit. Let me just take 2 seconds and set it up. It's one of those. There, and there it is. Boom. That's it set up. It comes complete with a grill on top. We can put that in there, and actually what I'll do as well is I will put some footage up as well of that in use, because it is actually quite a nice to have. I can use it with a Trangi meth burner, or indeed I can just put in small bits of wood, etc., to keep that going. So that's quite nice there when it comes to the cooking department, and that's all that is in that front pocket. This pocket here, can open that up and let you see. I have in this pocket a ham radio and the antenna that goes with it. So again, it's actually a radio as well, so you know, if you are just out camping, what have you, you can listen to the radio. You can get weather updates and things like that on it. It's quite a good thing to have in your bag. And then I have my old Sony mobile phone. Now this is an ancient phone, but what I like about it is it does come with a separate battery, and it's really easy to change the SIM cards. That's the word I'm looking for. So that's the reason it's in there. It's just a spare, it's just a backup. And that is in that pocket. Now, where shall we go? Okay, let's have a look on here. On this side I have, this is the Maxpedition coin pouch, I think. No, I'm not sure, but you know, if I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will point it out. And what I've got in here is a little Matador dry bag, and inside here I have a bar of natural soap. I absolutely love that smell. So you know, it's really important when you're out to maintain some kind of hygiene in that situation. So it's always good. Yeah, I mean, you know, you can jump in a stream and have a really good wash with that. For all it is, basically, it's worth having. This side here, this is a Janus pouch. I do have all my sort of ailments and medications in here. I have heat dressings for sore back, sore shoulders, etc. Do you know what, I'm actually not going to dig all this out because you're probably not interested. If you are interested in what's in here and what I've got in here, if you just ask, I'm more than happy to do a separate review of this pouch on its own. Or lay it out and just take a photograph, which is probably what I'll do, and I'll stick it up in the corner there. But it's standard stuff in here. It's the kind of, you've got your burn gels for the burns that you might get from touching that. I've got some talcum powder in there, some, and then just sort of the bog standard, some codeines tablets, some tramadols, some plasters, ibuprofen, you know, the standard kind of stuff that you can buy over the counter in the chemist. But it's those little things that can make all the difference when you're out and about. So just tie that up just now, get it out of the way. Moving on now onto the other side. This is a Maxpedition pouch. I've added it onto here. I actually really like it. Opens up, it's kind of expandable. I've got a stainless steel Tatonka water bottle in here, which can be filled up, and it can indeed be used with the Bushcraft Essentials stove, which again I will show you a video of how we use that and how it works. Inside the zip compartment of this, we have the fish spreader, which is, I'm sure you guys will know. There we go. The dog has gone missing. You know, it can hang over if need be, so it doesn't necessarily have to go on the grill. So if you're out and you've got maybe a pigeon breast or something like that, that can go on the grill, and that indeed could just be hanging over a fire. Titanium spoon and fork, and then also together in here is we have the classic millbank bag. Again, we don't have a water filter in this pack. I rely on the millbank bag. The millbank bag in its own right is absolutely fantastic. What you do have to remember with this though is you have to pre-soak it. So you want to get that in a stream, you want to soak it, and what's happening there is the fibres are going to swell up, they're going to stick together, and then that's going to start removing the things that you don't in your water. So there's 5 of them. There's turbidity. So for here, for example, that could be shopping trolleys. Believe it or not, we have a lot of them lying in our water courses here. turbidity, leaf litter, organic matter, then protozoa, eggs, all that kind of stuff. Then we have the bacteria and the viruses, and we also have chemicals. So the only way that you can be absolutely 100% sure of getting rid of all that is by filtering the water and boiling it. There is a lot of debate as to how long you boil it for, depending on if you're at sea level or high and so on and so forth. What I would say is big bubbles is less troubles, so just boil it. You know, here in Scotland, and I'm sure probably in most parts of the world that people are actually watching these videos, like North America, Canada, etc., water's in abundance. So you know, if you lose 10 or 20 mils during the boil off process, it's no big deal. You can simply reboil another pot, but it's best to not take chances. So come back, we'll have a look at this later and how that works. But it is a great bit of kit. I've put on a little cord, so when you hang it in the tree and it swells up, that can just hang right over the bottle, fill it up, and then you can boil that up. And that's great. It's good to go. It's foolproof. You know, filters can fail, filters can break, especially in cold climates. If they're the ceramic type, they can freeze and crack, and then your filter's useless. So that way is absolutely brilliant. What else? Yep, so that's that for that pouch. In the top here, this Maxpedition one, here's where I keep the Trangy meth burner. So again, that just goes with that kit. I keep it separately, so if it does leak, it is not leaking into all the other stuff in this bag. On the back of here, in this little pouch here, I have my Leatherman Surge. Again, this forms part of the tool selection, so this has got a decent knife, it's got little scissors, bottle opener, etc. on it, so it is a handy tool to have. It is a bit heavy and a bit bulky, but I guess if it's in the back of your vehicle and you're not, it's just there for emergencies, then you don't have to worry about the weight. I guess the argument on the other side of the coin is if it's going to be in your vehicle, why not go the whole hog and have a huge rucksack? Which that would be fair enough if you live in a place where you can do that and you've got all that spare kit and you can have a tent or a hammock and keep it in your vehicle all the time. Brilliant. Okay, moving on. We can get rid of you, Mr. Spider, and you. What's on the inside? So the top pocket here, spare glasses. Yeah, absolutely essential. I have been out before I got my actual proper glasses. I just used to wear the cheap reading glasses, and I used to lose them everywhere, and it's no fun when you wake up in the morning and you can't find your glasses and you want to make a text message or whatever. So yeah, spare glasses. Here's some of the cables that I need just to power the different bits and pieces of electrical equipment I have. They go in there. Don't know how well you can see it. Let me tilt it at this angle. Yeah, solar charger. We have that. This is also a battery bank. So again, once you've used your phone, etc., you've got a little bit of power in here to recharge it and keep it going on the battery bank. Fire lighting kit here in this pouch. I've actually attached the striker onto the zip so can't lose it. And then inside the fire kit have some Vaseline, just your normal stuff, cotton wool, some fat wood. I have a spare ferrocerium rod there along with the proper one, which again is attached to the pouch. I have some bits and pieces in there. That's actually one of those, it's like a cake mix. It's from the Dave Canterbury store. It comes in a little tin, the Pathfinder stuff. Some rubber inner tube, which is great, and then some small tampons. Now, I have been laughed at in the past for having these, but these are actually, the amount of cotton wool that's compressed into these is amazing, and with them being sealed in this plastic, it makes them almost waterproof. And then I have some more sort of rubber inner tubes and things like that in there. So that's a great bit of kit to have. 2 seconds please. busy. Moving on inside, let's go here. So this pouch here that I have, again another Maxpedition one, but inside here we have a mosquito net. Now the mosquito net can obviously help out here in the summer in Scotland. We can be plagued with midges, so it's quite good just to keep them off your face. They can be really annoying at times. But other than that, you can actually use this as a fishing net. Some fishing lures. In here there's some needles and thread. There's also a little bit, if I remember correctly, there's also a little bit of, it's a glue gun stick, and it can be really helpful using that to, along with the inner tube, to make small repairs on stuff, especially like some boots. I have in the past had, actually when we were on a survival course once, we had a student who basically got a thorn through his boots, and we managed to repair them with some inner tube and glue, some different fishing lines, etc. Little, without pulling all that out, there's one of those, there's weights, sinkers, hooks, all that kind of stuff, and there's one of those little arrowheads, EC, I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce that, but that's all in there. And what I refer to in this, again, there's this here is actually some of those roasting bags with the cable ties. So if you do happen to find a rabbit, catch a rabbit, etc., you can actually put that in an underground oven. You can put it in the bag, so it's going to stop it from getting contaminated with the soil, etc. Yeah, you can wrap them in leaves, but here you can put a little bit of spice in, and it also, inside the bag, it retains all the natural juices from the animal you're cooking, which obviously if you are in that situation, that is an essential part of getting those essential amino acids, fats and proteins into you. And then again, some more lures. There is some stuff in there. That's a little wire saw in here, and let's take it out. Fishing lures, wire saw. It's actually amazing as to how much you can actually get into a small pouch. Here we have 10 or 15 snares. So you know, having one snare is not going to do you any good. Having 15, you're going to have more of a chance of catching a rabbit with 15. What I do tell people is, when you are dealing with this, especially here in the UK, this is a placebo kit. It is absolutely illegal to go hunting and trapping animals, so it's not something that we can practice a lot. You will get away with it if it is a truly survival situation, but that said, it's not something that we can practice a lot of unless you have permission to do so from someone who has land. If you are fortunate enough in that situation, please keep practicing. And then here we have different sort of credit cards with different kinds of Gorilla Tape and micropore tape, etc. So again, they can help you in repairs and what have you. So what else have we got? The bot. I'll just come on to that in a second. The bot, along with 2 salami sticks, coffee bag, and then in here I have my fishing kit as well. So here we have some bank line, and we have different levels of fishing kit, fishing line, sorry, around here. A hobo fishing reel, and then inside there's enough room for a few hooks and things like that in there. This was made for me by a friend, made from new. Absolutely beautiful bit of kit, and well worth having if you've got it. So that is the main compartment, with exception of the back pouch. And in here we have an even bigger antenna for the ham radio. The reception of the small one is not that great, and of course I have some beef jerky in there as well. So let me just touch upon this. in a lot of the kits that I had, in the really small kits, what was lacking in there was food. And there's a whole debate going on about food in a survival situation. Myself, personally, what I would want to do is, once I was in that situation, I would want to get all my firewood, I would want to build my shelter, and then personally I want to replace as much of those fats, well, at this moment in time I'd want to replace as much carbohydrate as I can into my body. Once I've done that, I'm probably going to go and move towards the ketogenic side of things, where you can actually put your body into that mode and then you start burning your own natural fat off your body. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of spare, so I'll probably last 5 years out here. Just off that. Joking aside, there's a whole theory about that. I may do a video on that, because people do ask me, well, I've only had one 24-hour ration kit, should I then ration that out over 72 hours? I don't think so. I think you should eat normally the way you eat, and then once it's run out, go ketogenic style, and we will touch on that as we go through. So we have some hot pepperami sticks here which go well on that grill, and I'm not going to haul them off, but if you can see here, I actually have, oh, there you go, easy out. I actually have some barbecue skewers stuck down the side there, again just for cooking different bits and pieces on that little grill plate. The butt itself, inside the lid here, I really like this. If you take this rubber ring off and sit it on there, it's actually the perfect size to fry an egg in. And what I have in there is some dried fruit, which is great, especially if you go to make damper bread. That's great. You can put a little bit of fruit in there, and it makes it a little bit more tasty. Again, I have coffee bags. I like coffee. I go for coffee bags, just a lot easier. Scotch broth mix, basically barley, peas, carrots, etc. is all in there. You have to swell this and prepare it up. Once you've done that, it does swell up to almost 3 times the size and can make a good addition, especially like if you're making a soup or something. If you have a stock cube, I do have some somewhere, but that's good for that. The other thing in here I have is some noodles. They're like a chili flavoured noodles. They're quite compressed in that now, but you know, they're stuck in there. But by the time you add a little bit of water back onto that, it's going to bring that all back to life. Porridge oats in here for breakfast. Mashed potato, so again instant mash. So you know, there's a lot of carbohydrates going on here, so enough to keep you sort of going for that first couple of days, until you sort of your rescue arrives. Again, some noodles, hot noodles. I prefer them with a bit of a kick. I prefer them with a bit of kick, just to get those taste buds going. And then, last but not least, flour. You have some flour. So, you know, meal wise, you have a little bit of breakfast. There you have flour with dried fruit for making bread. You have some instant mashed potatoes. You have some noodles with chili. These are it's kind of like a hot, it's more or less a pot noodle basically, but it's quite hot and spicy. You have your mix there, beef jerky and some sausage there. So basically, night number 1 you could live like a king, probably even day number 2 you could do it, and then on day 3, as you realise, you know, I might have to start walking out of here, then you're going to have to start switching over from carbohydrates to start to burn body fat, which is exactly what the ketogenic diet is. So that's pretty much the bag, apart from this pocket, and this is now a coffee bag, another coffee bag. And then here is basically a whole load of nuts and sachets of butter that's in there as well. Again, so this is keeping with the theme that when you're having to move on, you need the fats, you need the protein, but not necessarily the carbohydrates, and this is where all this starts coming in. So you've got something to nibble just to take that hunger away, but you're not necessarily causing an insulin response in the blood, which means you can move into start to burn off that body fat. Gloves, every bushcraft bag needs a decent set of gloves in there. Another coffee bag, you can see a theme coming on here. Now this is my original Heat Sheets bivvy bag that I had many moons ago, and if you are someone who has subscribed to the channel, first and foremost, thank you very much. I know my videos are very short and coming, and there is a reason for that. But I like to do videos rather than trying to upload something every week just for the sake of uploading it. I'd like to come and do my videos when I've actually got something to talk about and say. So this Heat Sheets bivvy bag, which has seen better days, this was the original one that I used to use in my videos, if you go back and have a look. But what I do now is I just use this as a mattress. So here up in this wood is, I practice a lot of my bushcraft up here, and there's actually massive beech wood on the other side, and you can get in there and you can fill this bag full of leaf litter all the time, and it gives you a really nice comfortable mattress to sleep on. You can use the tape to stop it bursting out the ends if need be, and it just gets you up off the ground. Then on top of that, you can, let me get this out, it's well stuck in there. This one is the Soul Survive. I'm actually not entirely sure which one it is, but it's one of the better ones. It's got the zip and that on it, and it's all lined on the inside. So again, I use, when I'm out and I'm doing that, I want something to sleep on. So that's my mattress. I want something to sleep in, which is this one, and then I want something to sleep under, which I will come on to in a second. So that's what's in that back zipper. And then as I turn the bag around, what I've got in the back is my American poncho. So something to sleep on, something to sleep in, and something to sleep under. So between the three of those, I can keep the rain off me, I can stop the ground, I can keep myself insulated from the ground, and I can sleep in this. I also keep in various woolen shirts, etc. in the car for that as well. So it's not a great night's sleep, but considering the size of bag it is, it's not bad. And then last of not least, I have this. These are sort of one-time deal because they do break quite easy, but they are quite a good place for preparing your game. They also do fold up into a sort of shovel, but I wouldn't recommend you use it on hard ground, it will just break. They are fairly flimsy. I think I mean they're only, what, they're £4.99, so a fiver basically. But yeah, you're going to go through quite a lot of these, so I tend to use them and then bin them and then buy a new one because they're always broken. So that, my friends, is what I have. Oh, I tell a lie, I have one more pocket, and in here in the bottom is basically an Arcus dry bag. Now believe it or not, when the bag is full, as what you've seen earlier on, if you take this pouch off, it will all fit in here, which is a waterproof bag. It can be rolled up, so if you do have to, you know, if it's torrential rain, etc., you can take most of the kit, you can stick it in there, and at least you know it's going to be dry and waterproof, especially when it comes to the electrical sides of things. And then keep that in underneath the tarp with you. If you should have to do sort of a cross of a body of water, then again you can basically more or less put the entire bag into there and keep it dry. So it's worthwhile having. And again, worst case scenario, you could probably fill that with leaves and make yourself a half decent pillow. So that is it. I hope this has opened your eyes to the kind of gear that can quite easily be stored in a very small pack. It is for emergencies, but you can come out and practice your skills. Yeah, do so on a regular basis. Come out, practice it, practice using stoves, practice fire lighting in various formats, etc. And if you can do that and practice that regularly, if the shit does hit the fan, then absolutely, hopefully you are better prepared to be dealing with that. So thanks very much for watching. I do have a lot more videos to come your way. I'm just starting to get back up and at it now. I've invested quite a little bit of money back into cameras and things just to try and make better quality videos. Yeah, so thank you very much. Give us a like if you found this helpful, and please subscribe, and we'll see you around. Thanks very much.